Tapping in.
Are we live?
This one's special.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. This is the one that we're waiting on for a while, and we were able to get something from Jerrod Carmichael. Yo, this was pretty cool. And there was so much to review. There's so much to review. We know there's a Dirk album. We know this. You know,
Yep.
this is the
Ain't got to the
EXTD
Dirk.
album.
And Doug. You keep we gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about why you keep leaving Doug out of things. All right. Even as we leave EST and Doug out of things, Dirk out of things, new Vince Staples dropped, you know, Big Crit, Wiz Girl Talk. We know. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. That new Stardust and Conrad, that new Sid. We know. We're gonna get there. But this right here is important.
In the interim, man, we have covered Jerrod Carmichael's work before. After I watched this, I immediately texted you. I was like, Miles, I gotta know what you think about this Rothaniel special, Jerrod Carmichael's Last Offering.
Man, I was blown away watching this, right? But then I was also like after like, you know, kind of processing all the parts of the special. I remember that this is kind of in line with what he's given us, right? This person, we talk about every episode of the show that the vulnerable are powerful. Jerrod Carmichael is somebody, and his entire family, it seems like, are people that are willing to be vulnerable for the benefit of putting and capturing real moments on screen, relatable challenges that I think have an incredibly deep value in helping other people process things that are going on with them. So this special, which is the closest thing you could relate it to, is a stand-up special, but I mean, it's more special than stand-up. But it also relates very directly to, if you haven't seen his special Home Movies and Sermon on the Mount, which aren't comedy specials, but interviews with his family. This is just the pinnacle, it seems like, of him sharing and bearing his soul for people to see. And I found it moving, useful, informative, beautiful, bro.
I've been a Jerrod Carmichael fan for a while, and he's always been one of my sleeper favorite comedians. Having found him from Love at the Store 2012, around the same time where you had who we covered last week, Sam J coming out around the same time, Michael Shea coming out at the same time. A very strong class. Even Childish Gambino at that time was coming out. A very strong class of creatives. Jerrod Carmichael was always as Dave Chappelle-esque, right? As Dave Chappelle-esque. I'm seeing in the comments we got, has the nature of comedy changed for it to become more of a soapbox, or has it always been that? And that's a very good question. So what is interesting about the progression of Jerrod Carmichael, especially in this special, is you see you see how playful he uses his comedic abilities to be able to communicate. If you look at home videos and you look at Sermon at the Mount, as you said, it isn't comedic. It's done very tastefully. It's directed beautifully. It's shot incredibly. His eye for aesthetic is spectacular. It's second to none. I actually think he has some of the best visuals and executions on specials. Just a very interesting take on how to communicate with the audience. The special before that, standing in the middle of a crowd, in the middle of a room with the crowd standing around him, right? Very different take onto how stand-up is presented. So he's always pushed himself to be different in that way. And this was a natural, mature step to take to talk about something that isn't quite very funny to him all the way, but still done quite hilariously.
Yeah, bro. I love what you said about the aesthetic, like from the jump, from the snowy streets, like that it opens up with, like the piano jazz that's playing. Like there's a maturity and there's a simplicity and a minimalism to just seeing him walk down the street, walk into the club, walk directly up onto the stage and just start and go. And we'll kind of circle back to this at the end, but it feels like so fluid. Like this is one of the quickest ways to pass an hour. And it's because of he's so in command of everything that you're seeing and hearing. The way he uses visuals and silence are dope. And that all comes from like a self-awareness, bro. Like he just has a real, like a true self-awareness. That like I feel you, man. There are moments of this that are super funny. Like there are a few of them. I've laughed as hard at this as any other comedy special, but that's not the overall. You know what I mean? The overall thing is this is deep. This is life. You know what I mean?
The camera angles, when I think of the type of shots I would like to take, or the type of shots I'd like to, like when you look at a moment, you're like, damn man, I wish I could encapsulate this type of moment. Even something super basic, like when Jerrod was talking to his father in Sermon on the Mount, and they sitting next to each other outside in the fireplace. The shot, incredible. The texture of this special, he's dripped in gold, looking good. It looks fly. It's super fly, which is homage to it's homage to comedy. Like that's what stand-ups for. You can show up, you look fly on some Eddie Murphy raw shit. Both wearing red, if you want to put those combinate, if you believe in conspiracies. But all to say, it looked really cool, which is important because the subject matter was heavy. It was heavy.
Yeah. So getting into it, right? The kind of first half of the show is devoted to um, the father figures in his life: his father, his mother's father, his father's father, and a consistency of infidelity that has characterized their relationships with their family, and relatable.
The vulnerable and powerful now.
You know what I'm saying? And it was there was a lot in um, the way that he's able to connect and tell you something so specific about his life that is immediately relatable in its specificity, right? Like so much of this I connected with, being a son, watching my dad grow, uh, our relationship changing as I've gotten older. He is so he's spot on with a lot of the ways that he describes that relationship, and you feel the truth in it because he takes time when it's hard to say like I need that love from the audience, right? Like he man. So I don't want to get into the second half of the special yet. Let's stay on that first half a little bit, man. What did you connect with? How did it make you feel?
So it the first half is definitely the more humorous side of the special, where he leads with a lot more jokes up front. It's so funny. Those gay jokes are some of the funniest things I've heard in a long time, bro. Just so authentic and so effortless, so that was really funny. But you're right, he does get real deep into speaking about yeah, he gets deep into speaking about secrets. I think I might have switch them around, but he gets deep into speaking about secrets, especially infidelity. Yeah, man, that one definitely hits home for sure. Which is why the the mental fight that he had to have going through that, explaining like, man, I figured this out. Then I told my mother, and I told my brother, and I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
That whole experience is it's a very interesting one. It's a very specific one, and it's one where hold, you have to kind of tuck that in. You have to take it, hold secrets, and keep it pushing. And to see it displayed like this definitely resonated.
Yeah, and he's masterful with it. Like he brings you into the story where he's telling his dad and he's telling you like, "Oh, I was crying." He's crying on the phone. He's telling him like, "I know everything," and then his dad goes, "I always knew you'd be the one." like I feel like I've been in that situation. Like even his dad, even him saying his dad saying like his dad was telling women that he was Jerry Rice, Hall of Fame running back Jerry Rice, and like the questions that he had that come from that, like it was so it was super real, right? And then even like even like him describing like, so I made my dad tell my mom, and my dad made me and my brother take my mom out. And then bring her back to the crib. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, bro, this is, and he says throughout the special that he's being honest because otherwise it's a waste of time. And it pays off so well because, like, there's so much of like, yep, that part.
Is the vulnerability is on a high level. So much so where it actually starts to deteriorate from being a comedy special, and it's just he's thinking in live. He's just thinking live. So it's I wouldn't. This is as close to, let's say, Bird Revelation. It's very Bird Revelation esque if we're comparing it to Chappelle. It's super super fly, and we're still waiting to see how far Jerrod can go, but Jerrod Carmichael could be the cooler childish Gambino when it comes to the director sphere.
See, I'm like, no cap, I've been comparing this dude to like watching this, bro. This meant like I like this more than I like I mean Atlanta is dope, but that's a whole different thing. That's like acting. Like this delivering something real like this man reminded me of James Baldwin, the way he's sitting there, from his physicality to the way that he expresses himself, to the way that he knows when he has the crowd on a hook. It's masterful, bro. And so yeah, we get to the I don't even know what to say. Not the punchline, not the spoiler, but he uses this special as a way to officially come out as gay. And even in that was some of like the funniest jokes that I've ever heard. Not ever heard, but some of the funniest jokes that were in the special. I think my favorite joke I think of the whole joint is when he's like, I know, me too.
I know.
Sometimes I'll be in the shower like, oh, nigga, I'm really gay.
That's hilarious.
That killed me, bro. Like, and again, back to the self-awareness. People are clapping and applauding. And he's saying, that I wanna accept that, but it feels like I didn't earn it. You know what I mean? Like, bro, he is on another level. Like telling people and him like them being angry and him being able to tell that they're tense like the whole time. So much of this, bro.
It's a unique experience. It's a very unique experience, and I think what great art allows you to do is to be able to empathize the emotions that are intended out, and I think he does a good job at doing that. You feel for him through it. It's done real well. It's done real well. I'm very glad this is the direction that Jerrod Carmichael is taking. If you really think about it, dude, this is like elevated Michael Shea almost. It's very personal, and Michael Shea does a lot of great outside, outside references. Not as super interpersonal comedy, but in terms of a comedian's ability to just be there and have what they say be just incredibly brilliant. I'd say Michael Shea is a close comparison.
Hey man, I ain't mad at it, but to me, Jerrod is in a class of his own, man. Like even and it relates to me to kind of like Isaiah Rashad, bro. And like not to have a not to connect it just because these are our favorite gay niggas, but I think there's something, and you kind of articulated this in a way that really resonated to me. But there's something different about how well these gentlemen, before coming out, during, after, have been able to articulate the experience of just being a black man, period. Right. And as a black man, being able to relate to their experience so deeply, especially talking about Isaiah Rashad, for that music to have gotten me out of dark places and dark situations. And like it was not a lesson, because I've been trying to unlearn and learn about, my relationship with my own sexuality and with homosexuality and understanding. But it was really a reminder that, like, there's no limit to how somebody with a different experience can connect to you. And I think that's something that we need to lean on, and recognizing the humanity in each other, learning how to stop the violence that we perpetrate against each other, learning how to have the type of empathy that will carry us into a space where everybody feels respected and safe. And I think the way that Jerrod Carmichael laid out his experience, this is a piece of media that can be part of a bridge to help other people get there.
Brilliantly said. Brilliantly said. For me, one of my favorites, Specials in a Minute. I really enjoyed it. Give it a solid 4 out of 5.
Yeah. 4.5. Fuck it. It's a 5 for me. Full 5. Full 5 energy. 5. That's my thing, man. That's my thing.
Full 5.
I rock with that.